You
Thank
now.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Didn't see you. Good to see you. Good to hear you.
Thank you.
Don't see you, but hear you.
It says I cannot start the video because the host has stopped it. Is what I'm getting. So I can't. I will just be a voice in the wilderness on this one.
Okay.
So currently, staff, do we have all our commissioners in? I'm seeing, and committee members?
Hi, Angela. We're waiting on one more. One committee member already confirmed his absence with us previously.
Yes.
We're waiting on committee member Steven Simon, and then we should have a quorum.
Okay.
So I shouldn't
we-
start till then.
Commissioner Helson, can we just have one quick follow-up, staff, if we can call, email our members who previously confirmed. It's not quite 1:30 yet according to my clock, so we have a minute. I guess there's a couple clocks we can go by. I'm looking at.
Mine says 1:32.
Oh, does it? Oh, actually, then I look at my phone, it does say 1:32.
Yeah,
So,
my Verizon says 132 also.
all right, well then I've been overruled. Chair Ellison, if you would like to begin, we will can do so.
Okay,
And we
great.
have at least 4 people now for the quorum.
Thank you,
Okay, great. Thank you.
Davina.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Commissioner Al Hessen for the CCDA Education Outreach Meeting. And it's called to order today at August 25th at exactly 1:32 p.m. Davina, will you begin with the protocols of how we will conduct this meeting? Please, thank you.
Hi, this is Davina. This committee meeting is going to be on Zoom and via teleconference only. There is no physical location being made available to the public. Per Executive Order N 2920, teleconferencing restrictions are waived during the COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, committee members are not required to list their remote locations, and members of the public may participate either by Zoom or teleconference from any location. This meeting is being captioned. You may also turn on the view subtitles or live transcript from your toolbar options under More. Additionally, the link has been included in the chat for your use. This meeting is also being recorded. To assist in this effort, please state your first and last name each time you speak and speak loud and clear. Public participants can use their raise hand function to alert the committee of when they would like to speak. And we will also give an opportunity for public members who have called into the meeting, at which time they can unmute themselves. If you are attending this meeting via teleconference, please press *6 on your keypad to unmute or mute yourself. If you would like to alert CCDA, press *9 to telephonically raise your hand and staff will call on you. Please remember to mute yourself if you are not speaking in order to reduce noise. If you are having technical issues throughout the meeting and need assistance, please use the chat function to alert CCDA.
You went on mute.
Whoops.
Davina. You popped on mute for some reason.
Okay. If you are having technical issues throughout the meeting and need assistance, please use the chat function to alert CCDA staff or email ccda@dgs.ca.gov. And I can start roll when you're ready, Chair.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. Could you please do so?
Okay. Chair Commissioner Elhessen,
Present?
Commissioner Paravania,
I'm here.
Commissioner Leon Vasquez,
Here.
Committee Member Arnie Lerner. He has confirmed he won't be here today. Committee Member Steven Simon,
Present.
Committee Member Zinat Hassan,
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Elhassan, we have a quorum. We also have Commissioner Jackson on this meeting, and we also have Brixton Lane. He's from Senator Commissioner Jones' office. We have also invited a few members from the city of San Jose, which is Juan Ha, the city of Milpitas, Alex Andrade, and a representative from Mendocino Chamber of Commerce. If they are here, they could unmute themselves now to confirm their attendance if they wish.
I also like to allow time for public members to identify themselves.
Darlene
Anyone
Ornelas.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right,
Deborah Cam from the
thank
public.
you. Thank you, Deborah.
Farooq Cesar
Commissioner
from
Jack
City of Los
Lozano.
Angeles.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Someone was talking over.
Yeah, this is Farooq Cesar from City of Los Angeles.
Oh, thank you for,
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Swan Ha from the city of San Jose.
welcome, thank you.
Bree Cabia, Inland Empire.
Thank you. Okay. I just would personally like to also all thank you for being present here today, and your presence and your knowledge and also your input is greatly valued. So thank you so much. So we're going to move on to approval of minutes for May 19th, 2021. Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes for May 19th? We can make a motion to approve. Can I have a motion? So, and a second, please. Do you have a motion?
This is
Second.
Commissioner Paravani. I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Can I have a second, please?
Steve Simon, if I'm eligible to second.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Can we have roll call for vote, please?
Commissioner Ellison,
Oh.
Chair, we actually
Oh.
can just do a all in favor after any questions.
Okay, great. I'm sorry. My other board meeting, we have to have a roll.
No worries.
Okay, thank you. Can we just, everyone is in agreement then in regards to approval of the minutes for May 19th, 2021?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh. Okay. Let's move
So
on
with-
to,
With that, if there's no opposition, then you can, Chair, approve these minutes as stated, as printed.
okay. Hearing
you.
no opposition, I move to accept the May 19th meeting minutes from 2021. Thank you. All right, move on to agenda item number 3 in regards to comments from the public and issues not on this agenda. Is there any comments from the public on the issues that are not present on this agenda at this time?
Chair Elhassan, we do have 3 requests for a public comment.
Okay.
In order, they were requested by Rita Loof, Deborah Cam, and Marianne Grosner.
Great. Welcome. Please share your comments. Rita?
Thank you. Thank you so much for your hospitality. Good afternoon, committee members and members of the public. My name is Rita Loof, and I'm a parent of students with disabilities who has been dealing with the special education system for about 20 years. I would like to tell you about a barrier to the education of children with disabilities. Our children are being denied access to education. which will result in them not having equal access to jobs and society in general. I have witnessed how the special education system has been hijacked by for-profit law firms representing school districts who are acting as a barrier for our children to get an appropriate education. I want to share my experience with the law firm of Fagan, Friedman, and Fullfrost. One of their attorneys, Shiva Stein, engages in hardball tactics against families of children with disabilities. The following is a summary of some of the legal actions Ms. Stein has filed against our family simply because we advocate for our children. Filed legal action seeking over $10,000 from our family. Prematurely filed a writ of execution, which is a proceeding used by the Internal Revenue Service to garnish wages and seize property of people who are delinquent in payment. Our attorney tried to reason with Ms. Stein to withdraw her filings in order to avoid additional proceedings in court and express his intent to oppose the actions filed by Ms. Stein. Please keep in mind that it was the school district lawyers, FFF, who filed the action in the first place. And their response was to threaten our attorney with filing for additional sanctions just because he was doing his job to defend our family in filing oppositions to their motions. So they can file all the motions they want, but if a parent dares to exercise the right to defend their children, they will intimidate the family's attorneys by threatening further litigation. They file legal actions against our family attorney for over $5,000. They file legal action for $42,000 to charge us for an expert witness that they never used in the case. And thankfully, the court clerk ruled against them, but they billed the taxpayer for this money. The FFF standard contract has a clause which allows them to hire private investigators to conduct surveillance on families of children with disabilities. And they have surveilled my private providers and they have surveilled my attorney as well. And this is just, these injustices are happening because our children have no voice. And state agencies such as the Office of Administrative Hearings are quick to turn a blind eye. This committee can help by urging OAH to seek verification from lawyers representing districts that the school board has indeed approved that litigation. The decisions to litigate against non-disabled students or employees have to be approved by school boards, but students with disabilities are treated like second-class citizens, and they are sued without any board approval. OAH scrutinizes parents and seeks verification from parents to confirm they have authority to represent their own children. But when it comes to verifying whether or not attorneys for districts have been authorized to file for due process, OAH claims it has no jurisdiction. We hope this committee will look into the issues and how we can partner together to remove the barrier of litigation and ensure access to education. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Chair El Hassan, we still have requests for 5 more public comments. The next one was from Deborah Camp.
Okay. Hi, Deborah.
Hi, thank you all for having us here. I'm very glad I found this commission. I'm the mother of 2 children with disabilities. They both have learning disabilities. And in addition, my son was born with a serious congenital heart condition, which required 3 open heart surgeries before he was 2 years old. He still has what is in layman's terms called a half a heart. So I'm very familiar with not only physical disabilities, but learning disabilities and cognitive issues. I've founded and run a nonprofit organization and have run that for over 20 years, specifically for families who have kids with congenital heart issues. And I am also a special education consultant and advocate. So I have lots of experience with children and their families with disabilities. And I can attest to the fact, as Ms. Loof discussed, that there's a lot of discrimination and retaliation against families who have children with disabilities. So I'm very happy to find this commission and see that it was formed basically based on an acknowledgement that even though we have the Americans with Disabilities Act and we have state laws, outline discrimination, the legislature acknowledged that it still occurs, and this commission was formed in order to combat that, and was formed to ensure the full and equal access to public facilities. And so, I'm just very happy to have found you guys and see how we can work together to help in that regard. So first of all, I think that there's a lot of misconceptions about disabilities. And I think, first of all, when we say the word disability, most people think only of physical impairments. And as I discussed, my son has a heart condition, but it's really a hidden disability, and most people can't tell and can't see that. And certainly learning disabilities and cognitive disabilities and hearing and vision, all of those far exceed physical disabilities, according to the CDC and other venues. The other issue that I think that we have is when we talk about disability access, in the same vein, when we talk about access, I think too many people only consider physical access, and they consider wheelchair ramps and disability parking spaces, which certainly are important, but those are necessary but not sufficient. And the ADA makes it very clear that when we're talking about access, it's not just access to a building, it's access to all of the programs and services and activities of all of these entities. And of course, that includes public education and healthcare and social services, and even what they call town meetings, such as meetings like this. So we really need to make sure that when we're talking about access, we're not just limiting it to wheelchair ramps and disabled parking, that we're really talking about the ability for all people with disabilities to access all of the programs and services. As an example of that, certainly just because a restaurant has a wheelchair ramp, but they refuse to give a disabled person a meal, obviously we wouldn't say that they've accessed the restaurant. And it's the same thing with children. Just because children have access to the physical buildings of schools does not mean that they're all being provided the appropriate education that they are supposed to be provided. So with this commission, I was interested to read that you have the power and the authority to quote, secure the cooperation of any department, division, board, bureau, commission, or other agency of the state. This commission has a lot of power and a lot of authority to work with the California Department of Education, the Office of Administrative Hearings, as Ms. Lube referred to, school districts, and you can really have a lot of impact in helping children with disabilities. So I think with that, I just really wanted to stress the importance of us remembering that access is not only physical access. And we also have to remember all of the children with disabilities and their parents. Their parents need access because they are the voices of children. So as I said, I have a lot of experience with this. I would be happy to volunteer my time to help with this commission or this committee in any way possible. And again, I really thank you for the important work that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah.
Chair El Hassan, we still have a request for public comments from Marianne Grosner, Bree K, Samuel Arias, and Maria Arias.
Okay, I do want to let all of you know that I do take a special interest in this, not only as a person with a physical disability, but also as a school board member. So I'm very aware of issues for our special ed students. And I'd be happy to work and see how we can strengthen their access to public education, which is important, but also now even more so because of COVID, and many times the lack of access and learning in the classrooms because of the medium of learning is not conducive to many of our students with disabilities. So given that I hear what you're saying, please understand, and I wanted to let you know that I'll be happy. You can reach me, email or call me, and I will be fully accessible to you and seeing how we can move forward in this. I'm open to hear the rest of the comments from the public, but I did want you to know that. Okay. Are there any other comments that anyone wants to continue with, or we can do this on a different platform?
Chair El
Yadina?
Hassan,
Yeah.
you have a comment
Sure.
from Maria Barabino. She says, please share your email address.
Oh, okay.
That was in the comments.
Okay, I will just, could you please post that, Davina? You have my email address.
Would you like me to post that? Where would you like
Yes.
me to post that? In the comments?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
And I do want to say that many of your concerns, especially with identifying the needs and supporting our students with disabilities, and it really upsets me when I hear that the board is not aware of this, and this is really comes from the superintendent. So I wonder how much or how proactive many of the school districts are from that perspective. That I cannot answer to, but I know that from our school district, our superintendent, and I see to it too, is very on top of things, informing the board, and also me informing her about different needs of students. I created a bridge program for many of our students with disabilities to have equal access to their peers, to earn college credits while still in high school, which is offered to their able-bodied peers, but was not offered to our students with disabilities. So I see the discrepancies because I'm in the school board and I see what's going on. And I'm a very active school board member because I go and do site visits. So I definitely take this to heart. I just wanted you to know that.
So Chair El Hassan, the next comment was from Marianne Grosner.
Okay.
Hi, thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, so my name is Marianne Grosner. I'm a parent of 2 children with disabilities, and thank you so much for the opportunity to make public comment today. I appreciate that CCDA is helping to ensure that those with disabilities, including those with health concerns regarding COVID, can continue to have remote access to public meetings such as school board meetings. Remote access is also vitally important in helping parents who have children with disabilities have their voices heard at these meetings. So it was a little disappointing when back in June, while many school districts chose to continue their meetings virtually, we had one elementary school district here in San Diego who chose to go back to in-person meetings, making it especially difficult to those with special needs children to attend. This also made it difficult for me as well because I am now not able to attend these school board meetings due to being immunocompromised. I requested an ADA accommodation from the Del Mar Union School District to attend via telephone or Zoom, which they used to have in place. And I even asked that at the very least, perhaps they could even just read my public comments into record during the meeting, which wouldn't require any extra setup. However, they have been refusing my ADA accommodations requests and told me that I first have to prove to them my medical condition. They also told me that once they verify my condition, then their accommodations will be for me to sit in a separate room at the school district to participate in the board meeting, thus making a high-risk person come to the school district to attend the meetings. I just wanted to share some of the obstacles members of the public face accessing public meetings. They are silencing my voice as well as creating a barrier for me to represent children with disabilities. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next one, Chair El Hassan, was from Bree K.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, thank you for giving access to give these comments. I wanted to echo what the 3 previous speakers have said and just ask that we ensure that there is equal opportune access to board meetings across the state, because people with disabilities, people that are immunocompromised, people that require the need for accommodation, want and deserve to have access to these meetings. And the easiest way that we can see that access is offered is through these virtual options. So please consider continuing to have virtual options, and that this oversight committee should ensure that, for myself in the Inland Empire, my school district has gone completely back to in-person meetings as well. And while they were holding them outside for a while, they have now required that everybody come inside into a tiny boardroom. And they've done things like kick the public out of the meeting and continue the meeting in Altaloma. So we need to ensure that the public has access regardless of their ability or disabilities. So thank you so much for taking that to your heart.
Thank you. And Chair El Hassan, the last comments were from Samuel and Maria Arias.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, CCDA and public. Hello, I am Samuel, a 6th grade student with special needs. I'm here to advocate for special needs, or for the special needs community and children. Please ask city councils, school board meetings to allow public participation by phone or Zoom or Teams at their meetings. Fontana Unified School District denied me to provide public comment by phone or Zoom. We have high-risk individuals in our family, so we try to avoid board meetings in person to avoid COVID-19. Children need access to education. We ask for more education, less litigation. Please ask OAH to ensure board members are always informed when entering litigation. I was sued on April 3rd, 2020 during the pandemic, and my FUSD board members were not informed. Again, thank you very much for your time. And also, please follow us at the YouTube movement. Every student successful. More education, less litigation, special education children matter. And once again, I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Oh, do you have any questions?
No, you did a great job, Samuel.
Thank you.
And that was all the public comments we had, Chair Al Hassan.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Mrs. Arias. I was next.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, CCDA and public. This is Mrs. Arias. I am the co-founder of the YouTube movement, Every Student Successful, More Education, Less Litigation, Special Education, Children Matter. I am a parent of 3 children with special needs, all different needs within the same district. My son who just spoke to you is actually one of the students that I've been advocating for several years. It's been a very stressing road. It has been a very tiring, as I had to speak for all 3 of them. During 2020, our district decided to close all parent participation and did not allow, not even by Zoom or phone, any type of public participation, which was terribly. Just the very last months of 2020, they barely starting allowing email public comments to be sent. As a parent of 3 children with special needs, I am very alarmed because I have to speak on their behalf. I need to advocate for them. And in some points, I was not allowed to. Just as Samuel mentioned, I do have high-risk individuals in their families, so we try to avoid as much as we can to be outside in the public. So this is where you guys can help. If you guys ask and request board meetings to allow public participation by phone, it would be the very least they can do. Email doesn't work because what they do is they receive the email, but they don't read it out loud. They don't acknowledge it. And it doesn't go into record. So it's just a piece of paper that gets to them and they just shelve it and file it away. So it is crucial and important for our voice to be heard. So this is the area that you can help us out. Also, my children need access to education. I mean, just like a member mentioned it earlier, ramps are great, but if my child has no access to her education, what's the purpose of a ramp? So we need to ask for board members to be very involved and learn when the district is going to enter into litigation. Just like Samuel mentioned, I did a Public Record Act request to learn how the district initiated litigation right during the pandemic. And we were informed that the members were not involved. There was no discussion. This was decided by another member in the district. And it didn't even go for approval. I don't know. It was just odd. And they did send us a disclosed document that it was initiated. So please, once again, education is a right to every child. So we ask that you request OAH to always be asking for proof that any litigation is board approved. And once again, I thank you for you allowing us to participate by phone. If we all go into all open, this is a great opportunity. Otherwise, my son or I will not be able to participate. And I thank you for providing your email. We will be in touch with you. As you have stated that you too have some knowledge about special education, and maybe we can get some tips from you how to try to persuade our way and work with our district. And I thank you so much for this committee. Please follow us at the YouTube movement. Every student successful, more education, less litigation, special education, children matter. Thank you for your time and
I will
patience.
do so.
Thank you.
I will do so. Thank you. Any other public comment at this time? Okay, hearing none.
Madam Chair, this is Commissioner Paravani. I'd like to make a brief statement if I may.
Please.
I just want to cover some of the important facts that relate to what members of the public have very articulately brought to us. One is that public school districts are Title II entities within ADA, and they're responsible, if they have 50 or more employees, of having assigned a person as an ADA coordinator. They're supposed to have a grievance process for ADA. They're supposed to have a notice of compliance. They're supposed to have completed a transition plan, which is the bricks and mortar from which they do business. And it sounds like the most important part is the self-evaluation, which is how they function, their policies and procedures. And I think you're entitled to ask for evidence of those steps.
Yes. Did we lose Michael Parviana? I think we did.
I'm sorry, I somehow
Oh, there you
muted
are.
myself. I don't know how far let me go back a little bit. The U.S. Department of Justice is a primary enforcement agency. And you can see them at ada.gov. They have delegated to the U.S. Department of Education the enforcement role for education facilities. And you might want to look at U.S. Department of Justice or U.S. Department of Education Civil Rights Office. The second thing is the open meetings. School districts are held to complying with the Brown Act. And so that's a state law that has very specific requirements in terms of how meetings are held. And there may be need for some push to expand both Brown Act and Bagley-Keene to incorporate what we've learned from the pandemic into making meetings more accessible. I just wanted to make those comments and thank you for bringing them to our attention.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions or comments at this point before we move on to item 4 on the agenda? All right, so we're moving on to talking about developing partnerships and outreach. Angela, can you please give us an update on these items 4A through E, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair Elson. We have a number of items in Agenda 4 that we consider to be refreshing of previous projects and efforts. And so we've listed them here. Some of them are new to this committee of what has transpired, and some are just some steps that we are looking for your, the committee's feedback. So beginning with A, and this is a little bit of segue of our outreach efforts for the committee itself, but we wanted to mention the Chico Chambers of Commerce has expressed extreme interest in being involved as a partner with CCDA. This organization, and it'll a little bit spread into our agenda item number 5, but it is a reflection of our outreach efforts. And I won't spend a lot of time until we get to agenda 5, but Chico Chambers of Commerce is extremely interested in partnering with us, and they have already agreed to link up our website to theirs. And they currently have a platform that reaches out to over 3,000 businesses. So we're very excited about that partnership and look forward to a continued communications and development of that outreach effort. The next is B, the California Governor's Office of Economic Development, known as GoBiz. They too have similarly interest in partnering, and they have a portal of which they have identified CCDA very overtly in showing the tools that we have, and they have linked to our tab, our Business Connect tab. And so we're really excited about that Governor's website, as well as their partnership that we have with their small business development team. The next is Department of General Services under Division of State Architect. We have already started some communications with the chair, with the state architect, Ida Claire. Also, she's a member of our board. With their Office of Communications, one of the things that they're looking to do is develop a on-demand web tool for the education of CAS. And they're interested in seeing how CCDA can be a part of that on-demand product. And so we'll be meeting with them actually in September regarding how that looks. And we're looking, it's more like maybe a year out in terms of development, from my understanding of what they're talking to us about. But we're really excited about, again, here's an internal partner, as well as someone who has been working with us on a lot of projects with the area of CAS. So that is an update to let you know that's on the works. This is something that many of you, as you call, may have heard Ida Claire emphasize that she currently has a 101 training and has offered it to the board members as well as staff. So this is something that we like to eventually be included as our orientation process for all our board members to come on. So I'm really excited about that future opportunity and development. The next one is the California Laureates Association. This may have been something I'm sure I presented in the executive report, indicating that I was approached by Rachel Golden. She's a defense attorney, that she is putting together a panel for the California Law Association in September. And we are actually doing a panel presentation virtually for their annual meeting. So we're excited about that, which is, again, here we go. We're back in the saddle. CCDA have had a number of invites through the years prior to pandemic, and it just like halted. And now it's starting to come back up. So I'm really, really pleased with the partners and people considering, hey, CCDA has some value information that they can share. And so indeed, that is happening at the end of September. And the last one, E, and this is something that I do seek this committee's thoughts and ideas regarding outreach for, but it is a tool that was created from the legislative committee. It is the CCDA one-page informational to the legislature. And this is, again, a tool, and I'm glad we do have legislative members here today, represented today, just kind of think about and help us explore exactly how we can best present this one pager. Again, the legislative committee created it, and now we as the E&O committee are looking for ways in which we can market it. It has already been given to us some ideas, but we definitely like to explore it at this point with this committee. And right now the staff has put it up as an attachment to our meeting. And for those who are unable to see this screen, I would like to just verbalize it, just if I could, Chair Essa.
Yes. Go ahead.
So the one pager is basically, it's called the California Commission on Disability Access Informational Sheet. And it summarizes how we began. And then specifically, it goes into the government code that really talks about how CCDA is to work with legislation and the legislative body. And so we talk about that we will assist the legislative body in a number of ways. And one is through educational material. And on this document, we noted what's our current tools available to help them to pass out to their constituents. And then lastly, we have on this one-page informational tool is that we are also subject matter experts, just like example, it's like so perfect, as you have indicated, Chair Essel, that you're not just this amazing chair for the E&O, but you also serve on a board for education. And so those are opportunities for many people may say, we need a speaker at a particular event, and we can identify, and as we've done before, Commissioner Paravaglia has done so, and a number of commissioners have spoken as subject matter experts. And so we want to let them know these are some of the gifts and talents that we have as an organization, and we're available and ready. And then lastly, close out, our goal is to promote an accessible, barrier-free California, and it gives our address and phone number and a website. So that's basically our tool that we want to distribute in a variety of creative ways.
Right, thank you so much. And I would like to have discussion the very ways we can market the tool. We could email this tool to everyone in the office, every legislative office, and the legislative director. There's other ways we could do this. We can do it like, I was thinking like because it deals with many different avenues to share with city officials too. And I mentioned this before, there's many associations linked with it, but also links in. there might be something we could do as animation where you can do a talking heads and have each point shared ideas back and forth between an avatar. And it could be creative, would be a avatar with a various disability, so that it's viewed too as a way of communication of different needs. I'm open to hearing other comments if there's. I know we have Commissioner Parabiania online, on phone, excuse me. I don't know if he's still with us or.
And you do have a hand raised from committee members, Stevens.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't see those, so thank you.
I know, I'm sorry. I just wanted to let you know you do have a hand raised.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you, Angela and team for putting this together. One, I think it's a great document. I do think, yes, broad distribution, obviously to the state electeds and departments should be there. But as you said, Madam Chair, that the getting it out to local governments and getting it out to actually federal electeds. So I think this is a resource that's very, it's California specific, but certainly cities in California and I think our federal representatives need to know that we're here and that all this extraordinary information is here. The educational material again is sort of bread and butter to me, and making sure that these are there, they're clear link throughs, and then coming back to the social media. So my office at the Department on Disability for City of LA can certainly send it out to our full list, put it on our social media. We want to know that we're a partner and support all the work you're doing. So to the extent that we can do that and send it to all our organizations and service providers that exist in our space. And then same thing, I can get it out to the mayor's business team, out to businesses to also know that you exist in that space, we exist in that space. And then I do want to highlight the legislative assistance piece. I personally am always gray on the parameters of, as an appointed staff person in government, sometimes we have limitations on where we can chime in on legislation. And I think the fact that the way this commission is created gives it a greater opportunity, I think, than others to really be part of the full legislative process from beginning to end. And I do hope that we clarify that if necessary, but really pitch that. So we don't, be careful what I'm about to say. So we don't, so we have fewer examples where legislation gets crafted without a disability lens properly applied to it.
Right, I totally agree. And that was one of the main reasons why I volunteered to be chair of this committee, because that was so important, the education component for that. And thank you for helping us to get the message out. And I wanted to see.
And Chair, you do have another hand from a committee member, just let you share. Seen it, committee member, seen it.
Yes.
Oh, I can wait, Commissioner, if you want to finish your thought.
No, actually, I was going to bring you in.
Oh, thank you.
You were part of my thought.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I had a couple questions. One is, I see this is labeled final. Are we beyond the point of like making little wordsmithing edits?
Oh, okay. Well, that would have to be on the legislative committee. Is
so
Commissioner
actually, you're welcome if you want to submit some recommendations. Honestly, we are never set in stone. We try to stay nimble as an organization.
And this is Commissioner Paravani. I'm sure the legislative committee would be open to constructive feedback.
Okay, I can send an email memorializing it, but my only two thoughts were it makes reference to stakeholders a couple times, and I think it might be helpful to just define who that is. Hopefully it's obvious, but I think when it comes to ADA enforcement and compliance, like that can be such a contentious issue. And so being able to say, CCDA stakeholders are both the small business owners and the disability, people with disabilities, I think that can be really helpful in establishing, that it's a reputable resource for both sides. And my other thought was towards the end where it says providing recommendations on alleged ADA violations. This might just be my lawyer background, but I hear that as like CCDA commission members are going to weigh in on active cases, and maybe they do, but I don't think they do. So it might be worth making alleged to like potential violations or something like that, so that it's not misleading that, you know, the commissioners aren't going to like be giving legal advice in an active case. I can put that in email to Commissioner Paravani if that would be helpful. In terms of outreach, I want to share that I think I definitely agree that broad distribution would be great, but I think in addition to you know, I think a lot of the distribution we tend to do is like very top down, of like going to chambers of commerce and other government agencies and kind of hoping it trickles down to businesses. So it might be helpful to also start with like grassroots organizations and go up. I think that I acknowledge that would be a lot more work to kind of find who those folks are, but I'm happy to volunteer to help. But I know there's lots of like neighborhood and regional commissions, like Chinatown Development Center has, you know, their own sort of community of business owners in Chinatown. So that may also require like some language access. I don't know if we can translate this into different languages, but that could be helpful too for making sure that like the folks who don't already know about CCDA can have access.
Right. And I think it's important for diversity in regards to reaching out to different cultural based organizations that deal with different businesses too. So yes, thank you for that. And I think that also, doesn't that tie in with the Governor's Office on Economic Development, the Go Biz? Is this one document that we'd be sharing with them to help get it out to their stakeholders and their members? Angela?
So yes, thank you. I think this is just to make a comment that we do have plans to create a brochure that's like a generic brochure that's for business, everyone kind of thing. This particular one, again, was a targeted message to the government because of the fact that many times we have found that many legislators didn't even know CCDA existed. And so for them to start making laws that influence or impact the disability communities or things that we are involved in, they would possibly be considering some of the things that would impact us or ask for our advice or communications. So I say that specifically because we do have other plans to do marketing in a different venue to businesses or grassroots organization. This is called a legislative targeted audience. So I don't feel it's a problem of translation for other offices, but again, just to understand that's the purpose of this document.
Thank you for clarifying. That makes sense.
Okay.
And I just to lastly chime, we do use alleged violation quite often in our communications because that is the language in which we've always been governed. We do not call it violations, that these are the violations, but rather these are alleged violations. So in terms of maybe using different wordsmith, we will consider those, your feedback on that, but just kind of want you to know that's the other side of using word alleged.
Okay. Thank you for your feedback too.
Was there
any other
another question?
discussion?
Yeah.
Yeah, any hands up?
I
Angela,
think I saw, I was trying to see
There
Stephen
is a
Simon's
hand from Stephen Simon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I just sneak it up and back down, actually. So two things, because you kind of answered in that last point. So if this is not the primary document that is going to the grassroots push, we can have that discussion another time. I will support the point that was made around doing separate grassroots outreach and really had strong grassroots outreach to to organizations and the language diversity piece. So I guess for the legislature, there's probably less need for that if this is a specific target, but I am curious again about the other documents we create and making sure, certainly minimally everything's in English and Spanish, but really are we using the statewide or some of the county checklists around other languages, and do we have translation service access? Because language accessibility has been a big push in this office, and even making ASL videos of some things when it's appropriate.
Yes, absolutely. Great. Thank you. Any other discussion from any members at this time? Those are all valuable inputs that we are going to be taking into consideration. Okay. Moving on to agenda item 5. This is a CCDA public service announcement and informational update and discussion. There's an opportunity for a radio segment. Davina, will you give us an update on this agenda item?
Sure, Commissioner El-Hassan. So under the suggestion to research additional outreach strategies, staff has researched opportunities for placements on various radio stations and was able to secure 2 types of outreach segments on local radio stations, which are 105.5 FM, 103.9 FM, 1380 AM, 710 AM, and 105.7 FM, which are all broadcasted by Salem Media. Both outreach opportunities would be free, and Salem Media has offered to give us copies of the recorded messages for CCDA. The first outreach opportunity was for a radio interview. The producer and contact at Salem Media was very excited to hear of CCDA's outreach for promoting the accessibility and in particular of the CCDA's accessible parking campaign. So this was a recommendation to include the topic and also include CCDA's open air dining and curbside pickup tool. The next available date for that recording with the radio would be Monday, October 4th, and the air date would be on Saturday and Sunday, October 9th and 10th. And then Angela, did you want to add on to that?
Yes, thank you, Davina. And I will, I just want to take the time to just salute Davina in her amazing dogmatic effort to make this happen. She was mining a lot of leads and just found this one to be fruitful and just make sure she made all the appropriate communication and contacts. So she did a extremely outstanding job. And so I just want to just jump in right now and just thank her for that effort. It was great work and something that we have been wanting to do. And so it's perfect timing. So without going all the details, because they really do have, as those of you who have participated in radio, they're extremely detailed because everything is seconds managed. And so for this agenda topic, I did want to first talk about the fact that we have this great opportunity to develop segments of communication. They are willing to do staging and progressively. And so this October the 4th, I am actually recommending if Commissioner Paravagna could lead that first segment in discussing the history of CCDA and as well as our campaign as a combined discussion, and we can work with him directly. But in terms of the detail of that, because we will have it extremely timed, and they will just call us on the phone and do that. But if we can confirm that you're available on the 4th, Commissioner Paravagna, I think that would be something we would like to recommend, that we start off with this segment and then explore further of our additional commissioners to participate on a continual basis as we develop topics and presentational opportunities.
This is Commissioner Paravagna. I can do it on the 4th of October.
Great, thank you.
You have a time, Angela?
So yes, so we'll email you the time of which they will, and we'll go into that
And
further.
since October is Disability Awareness Month. I think
It
it's
is.
perfect timing, yeah.
It really is.
So
It's
good.
nice when something comes together, even if it's just by accident.
Oh, we planned that. Come on.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. No, indeed, it really does work out. I'm just really feeling so optimistic. Things are the clouds are breaking open for CCDA. It's like things are happening.
Good.
And so this is just a great sign of more to come. So Davina, if you want to continue a little bit more, because this is again a little bit where we're looking for some more feedback and development for the committee though, which is the second part of the radio opportunity.
So additionally to the radio interview segment opportunity, Salem Media has also offered a radio PSA opportunity for free as well. So we've came up with a draft that I'll share on the screen. And this is approximately 30 seconds. The producers would edit it to fit their time slots for the PSA time amount in the radio. But this is the draft for that. Angela, did you want to add on to that?
Yes, so here we go. So we have, and Commissioner Chair, I like to solicit you to be the voice of our PSA to read this for them. But this is a 30-second one. We have, from what I understand from them, an opportunity to do 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and 60 seconds. This is example of a 30-second one. And so staff, we haven't had the chance to finish it, but we wanted to present to you a 60-second one as well. But for the most part, they'll probably use this one and a 60-second one. So we want to read this to you all, the committee, to see if this is the language and of thought, and for our first matching up again with our campaign that we're working on, the parking campaign, as our PSA announcement. So
before you start, this is geared for the parking.
This one is
not the dining, curbside dining.
Well,
are you combining the two?
It's really, honestly, it's like combined in our mind, because we started a pivot from our original developing the tool. It really still it's about parking and outdoor curbside usage, right? Because it's affecting the parking lots, affecting people who come up to drive up or walk up to pick up their merchandise. So we kind of wanted to just kind of generally speak about this. So if you want to read it out loud, or if you want me to, and get your feedback in the committee, we would appreciate that.
Okay. Okay, I'll go ahead and do that. So this is a CCDA public service announcement and informational. Did you know the category of parking has been the #1 alleged physical access violation lawsuit made against businesses, with business operations extending into parking lots due to COVID-19? It's a growing barrier. The California Commission on Disability Access encourages business owners now more than ever to seek advice from a certified access specialist to not only avoid costly lawsuits, but create an inclusive environment for your business's customer base. Please visit www.dgs.ca.gov/CCDA for resources and tools to help your businesses be accessible for all.
Thoughts?
Well, when you first start out by saying it's the #1 alleged physical access violation lawsuits, that's pre-COVID. Do you see what parking has always been an issue, but now it's even more so. I wonder if we can emphasize, do you know what I'm saying? Like, this has always been a real critical issue for people with disabilities as far as access to businesses. and hospitals, and it's a big area, but even more so today because of COVID. Is there a way we can kind of add that other component to it, that it's does that make sense, or am I reading too much into it?
So this is Angela. So to paraphrase what you're saying is that you want to say that parking has been a major issue pre-COVID, and it's still after COVID, it remains and continues to grow to be a major issue in California. I mean, it's just kind of more, is that what you're
Well,
trying
it's more
to?
like as a result of COVID, it exacerbated a lot of
Yes.
parking
Mhm.
issues that
Yes,
have already existed.
This
right.
Mr. Garavani, maybe something like parking has always been a major barrier for people with disabilities.
Mhm.
With the COVID epidemic, it has worsened,
Right.
and then go on from there.
It's a growing barrier. Right. That's fine.
And
That-
Steve
that's just-
Simon, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Steve. Sorry.
Steve Simon here. So depending if this is timed towards a 30-second piece, if you can't get too many words in there, you could, I think, get some of your point short form by just literally adding the amount of years, for the past 10 years. I can't remember how many we've done, 5, 10? How many of these have we done? So at least would certainly show how prevalent it's been in sort of our history.
Yeah. Like for the past 10 years, it's been the #1 alleged physical access violation. Is that what you mean,
Yeah.
Simon?
So if you have more time to speak, then we could actually be more COVID specific too. I think it is a nice transition you got there. This looks good.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, very
Staff,
good. I think
okay.
what we can take these comments, because the biggest thing is for us is that it wasn't like a big shift of, oh no, we should say something way over here. I didn't hear that.
No.
So since you like this theme, we can follow that. We got you, and we'll take that, because we are working on literally what just was said in our 60-second one from Steve and Simon. We literally said that very same thing. We gave a time range, and so we'll make that blend into this one as well, in a 30-second one.
Zena, do you have any comments, since you're representing the disability rights organization?
No, I agree. Like, I really like that framing of this has long been an issue. COVID is exacerbating it. Yeah, I really like that. I agree.
Thank you. All right. Okay, any other additional comments or suggestions at this point? Thank you, staff and Angela, for actually drafting this and moving forward with having our voice heard more broadly. So that's expansion's important. So thank you. All right. We're moving on then to, let's see, did I miss anything here? No. Item 6, committee membership update and discussion. So during this time, I would like to discuss potential partners or prospective organizations that have been invited to join this meeting. We have invited, how do you say that? Milpitas Economic Development, City of San Jose, Reading Chamber of Commerce to join this meeting. If there are any representatives from these organizations or from other organizations who have joined this meeting for this agenda item, you may unmute yourselves at this time, and please identify yourself. And we welcome you to introduce yourselves, and thank you for joining us today.
So earlier, I think some of them had identified, acknowledged their presence. I'm not sure if they're, and so Chair Elson, we really wanted to kind of talk about that. Maybe we're at a little bit of a change of thought of how we're going about bringing folks into to the committee, because the list we had 11 business associations, city between that or city chambers and business liaisons. We didn't we got folks, I would say, who showed some interest, example, Melpitas and the city of Chico. They showed that they wanted to be a partner, but not necessarily on the committee. And so we probably would just maybe look at it differently in terms of when we come up with products, to invite them to a special focus meeting, for example, to say, here's our tool, just like we're doing now, and just say, what are your thoughts about this tool? Is one suggestion, instead of necessarily having them on the committee itself. This is just a reaction from what we saw, that we showed we were able to get people who are interested in partnering, but not necessarily fully committed to be on the committee at this juncture. That's one thought.
Actually, I liked what Ms. Hassan recommended, going bottom up. And I think that might be a good avenue to start exploring, and looking at those organizations who actually reach out to businesses themselves. And it could be culturally diverse groups, in addition to disability groups. Many disability groups actually form independently, whether it's for the visually impaired and blind, the deaf and the hearing loss. I even think we should be reaching out to senior organizations, because due to, and I know they don't like this, because when I was on the committee for aging, due to aging, but seniors, they sometimes have become or use disability equipment that support them and need access in many avenues of their lives too. Those are just some of my ideas. Instead of what we're doing as going top down, let's start thinking of bottom up. I like that idea. What do you think, Zenat? Do you have a resource? Yeah, that's your idea, but do you have a resource list of where we can start that maybe you can share with staff?
I do not, but I'm happy to work with staff on developing one. I'm wondering though, so would we run into issues if any of these groups are not like formally incorporated? So if there's just like kind of a loose network affiliation, of business owners who have like a shared interest, could that sort of like an informal network be a committee member, or does it need to have like a very formal official capacity?
I would say those are the most valuable, because they're the most out there with the public. And they're constantly seeking and actually wanting to make those connections, even as much as we are, but they're at the grassroots level where many times these organizations sometimes go down to reach to them too. So I think there's a more of an interaction of up-down communication. That's my thoughts. Anyone else in the commission or committee
This
would
is
like to?
Commissioner Paravani. I'm wondering if we had a number of different products to showcase and had an opportunity to put some presentations together to sort of describe what the commission does and what it might do for certain parties, if it might work to have a virtual open house where people could log on, we could show them the things we've got, we could solicit information from them about what we need, which would assist us in our planning, and it would be COVID responsible.
I like that idea, but when we started doing that, it kind of comes back, Angela, to that PSA that was started by a student. And now we were working on getting that up and running. And where, is that something, what you're thinking about too, Commissioner Parbianya?
I'm thinking more of an interactive form virtually, rather than a PSA where someone who is in the Modesto Chamber of Commerce can log in and see what kind of assistance we might be able to offer to businesses in their community. Or it would be a marketing challenge, to be certain, but I think that begins to get us that bottom up
Right, I
approach.
see what you're saying. As a matter of fact, Angela and I were talking about that off the record, actually, where I was thinking of actually doing kind of like a YouTube talking heads, kind of like what you're saying, but more like every chair of our different, like I would be talking on education and outreach. Oh, this is what we do. This is how we kind of come together with the public. This is how we look at access. This is where we need your support. This is how we want to reach out to you, type of thing. And then the same thing would be with the legislative committee. The same thing would be with the architecture, barrier removal, and so forth. So it'd be kind of like a talking head, and they would be able to click on, and we would have our resources attached to that, the bottom to reach out to us.
I think that's a similar concept. Yeah.
Yeah.
Additionally, with that, when we're talking about the individuals, we were talking about LinkedIn, and I will share with you that Department of General Services, Public Affairs has indicated that if we were to write something about CCDA, that we are looking for committee members for the education outreach in the areas of XYZ, then contact us. Could be something they will do on our behalf. That is one. And then additionally, just all of us who have personal ones could do the same thing and say, we are interested in learning about who could be participate in our committee. But I did want just to emphasize that the board has charged us to try to find more business related organizational liaisons, because if you look at the committee membership, we have right now Disability Rights of California, Ernie Lerner, who's a certified access specialist, and then the City of Los Angeles from the Department of Disability. So it's a strong disability representation on this E&O committee. And what we're looking to do is additionally say, as we always have, is try to make sure we have a true balance of voices to represent any one of our outreach or actually its committee. So that's why, if you can see the list, we were looking at a number of business organizations or associations. But the liaison that was mentioned, those are great. So Commissioner Leon Vasquez, she has a question for, did you want to speak out to the chair?
I just wanted to know, like, what kind of approach should we be taking, or if we're able to, like, just on our end, reach out to our own chamber, our own city, and say, hey, there's this committee membership opportunity. I would love for you to be part of it. Like, what are are there any limitations or anything like that with us going out on our own, not necessarily directly through CCDA?
No, I think that's very appropriate to do, especially our working with the public. That's our commitment, to be able to support organizations and getting our information out across the board. So yes, I highly encourage that. So I know that we can link in with different chambers, or even go to the city and ask them if they can we can have a little quick flyer to put with anyone who's getting a business license, maybe. Just to inform them about where we are and what we do and how we can support them if there's any questions about starting up their own business and making sure they have appropriate access, whether it's program, language, or physical. So I think that's very appropriate. Any other commissioners would like to chime in on that? Okay, thank you. No, I think that's great. We still have to get together.
I know.
I'm all healed according to my doctor. And he says, you can get up and walk now. I said, I wish it was that easy.
Oh, yeah, I'm here. I'm nearby. Whatever.
I know you are. So we do that. Okay. Maybe we can do a team thing and reach out.
Yeah, I would like that.
Okay. Any other considerations or ideas on this agenda item before we move on? I know we're getting close to time. So I'd like for us to look at the item 7 on CCDA outreach programs. Angela, would you provide an update on this agenda item and specifically on open air dining and curbside pickup disability access considerations?
Yes, so things are moving really well in that we have been coming up with different strategies to get this particular tool out. And so with that said, I did want to share with you, and I totally have forgotten, but I have in my hand the California Economic Development Journal, and we are in their publication for the summer publication. So our open air is in there and it's hitting throughout California, all the economic development offices. So those who are members of this particular nonprofit organization has our open air. So that's one marketing rah-rah that we can say we have. We also have created the idea of sending a letter to all the cities, as was mentioned in our last meeting. So we have drafted a letter that we would like to present to the cities. And I'm so grateful again for the city of Los Angeles, who has been our partner in this effort. And so what we thought to do though, and we're working on this with state publishing, is to make a nice kind of a slick piece of paper. So it's not just something they would not touch and say, oh, this is something important to keep. So we are coming up with that quote. We just received a quote from the state printer, and we want to put that together so we can send out to all the cities. At least of course, it's linked to our website with all the languages, but we are looking to send them at least to the city a copy of their version. I think the only thing we wanted to find if it's extremely valuable to you, if we need to send another language or let them know is available in all these languages, is our question to you as a committee.
I would, and I'm open to hear other comments from our members, but I would say open in other languages, and then as we receive requests, then we would make it accessible in that language. Is that any other ideas on that topic from our members out there? Yes.
So
Simon.
for me, yeah, for purely on the language question, is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, this is the kind of document I think absolutely needs to be in Spanish already, English and Spanish. And I think we maybe should have a sort of behind the scenes conversation about it. Should they be in at least 2 or 3 other languages? If we're really going to truly get into the hands of smaller businesses at scale, I think we just really, we desperately need to do that. And so they start thinking of us not as the people that are showing up with a problem they have to address. We're showing up as the people to solve a problem, is their inaccessibility. Right. And so I think that PR piece requires us to be very supportive of that work. I know that's hard, and so it's not easy to ask Angela about getting too many languages in there, but I agree with Commissioner Hassan's point earlier about finding these other entities that aren't. The chambers are great. I totally support our work there, but finding these small community-based coalitions would be a great strategy, I think, for us to get some concrete change. And sort of another quick aside on this, if I may, I had a meeting today with my counterparts from several cities, and I knew San Francisco is coming up with some very, very explicit recommendations or regulations that I think are in line with a lot of the things we have in here. I've not seen the copy yet, but that should be out in a matter of days. But they are also including something like a 6-foot right of way around some space, and we're I think at 4 feet in LA still. So some interesting things I'd love to compare as quick as I can, get our hands on that document and see what San Francisco comes up with, because they will mandate it. It's mandated. And LA is working on the same thing right now too. Our regulations to have a permanent alfresco dining, and we've been working with this document draft, tell you the truth, behind the scenes. Our ADA compliance officer has been using this as a model, and so we definitely appreciate the work.
That's great. Yes, thank you.
Yes. So this is Angela. We will always see ourselves as the caveat of, so if some city has something, we'll put it in. But the key that you just emphasized, Stephen, is that every city has their own particulars. And so we as a state have to be considerate that, and that's why we have it in this document. Please check with your local, because your local will have something specific to you. And I will tell you that we do already have it created in Spanish, traditional, and simplified Chinese. So it's created already. It's just that in terms of printing it right now to send to the cities, we're just trying to tease them and saying, there's some help out here from the state level. Check us out. It's on our website, but here it is in your hand, the English version.
Right. I was just thinking of community organizations that we can also reach out to, like the Lions Club or the Kiwanis Club, that deal with many businesses and are all community-based partners with many cities. So that's a real, I think, viable and very proactive base that we can start to look into and actually send it out, because they do a lot of outreach and community events that would be open air dining for many fundraisers that they do. Any other discussion on this?
This is committee member Zinat Hassan. Hopefully this is a temporary issue, but the link that's at the end of page 2 seems to be broken. When I click on it, it takes me to an error 404 page. So I'm not sure who's responsible for that, but we should probably get that reconnected.
So it separates.
I'm sorry, say again.
It separates. It's not a continued link. When you say it breaks off.
Oh, no. Like when I click on it, it takes me yeah, it just takes me to an error page.
Oh, okay. But I was saying, I can't see it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that feedback. We'll fix it. You're talking about the dgs.ca.gov/CCDA.
Yes, that's
resources.
Right.
I will just let you know that we did create a new tab on our website called Business Connect. And because we want it to be really easy for people to get the research tools. And so we created a tab called Business Connect. And this is possibly why there's an problem with the link, because we did change some information around. So we'll take that as an action item.
Could you also send me that link so I can put it on my LinkedIn account?
Absolutely.
Thanks. Okay.
And just as a timekeeper, we're at 2:59.
I know. So I was gonna say I was gonna move on in regards to the Disability Access and Education Revolving Fund, which I think is really important in getting the information out to cities and how it can be used effectively to support them. Angela, you have staff discussion about this?
Well, I think that due to
Okay.
time, we'll just note that the fact that we are moving forward with this project is a longer, bigger scale project that the board has asked staff to do, and that is
Okay.
to find out what every city and how they're using their funds so we can create a tool. So
Okay. It's an ongoing
it's
process.
ongoing.
Time. Okay, great, thank you. All right, in closing, in honor to keep time and everyone's we value your time. Is there any other agenda items that we'd like to see next time before we adjourn? No? Okay. If there is something that comes to your mind afterwards, please send our information to our executive director or one of our staff members, and we'll take it up at that point in time. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining. Have a good evening, everyone, the rest of the afternoon. Bye.
And our next meeting is October 27th.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. October
No worries.
27th is our next meeting. Yes. Time's going by so fast.
Totally.
I know. Hope to see you all then. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Excellent meeting. Thank you so much.